Hey, Josh Swain, what's up? It's the Culture Detective here investigating your favorite TV shows. And I just finished watching The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I'm going to do a review on it. So, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier is the latest TV show in the Marvel Cinematic Universe Phase 4 after Phases 1 to 3, which is the Infinity Saga with Captain America and Tony Stark. Now we have Phase 4, which is the brand new phase. We have no idea how the story is going to go, unless you are a comic reader, of course. And so before Phase 4 began, I was actually quite interested as to how is the story going to go after Tony Stark is gone and Captain America is gone. How is the story gonna go? And so the first thing we actually received is Wanda Vision, the TV show, earlier this year. And originally it's supposed to be Black Widow, the movie, but it's pushed back due to the pandemic. Same goes for Eternals and Shang-Chi. But anyways, WandaVision is the first thing that came out of MCU Phase 4, and it's just pretty decent. It was actually a little bit underwhelming at points, especially for the first few episodes, which is really slow. The ending is fine. Overall, it's fine. Now we have The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which is 6 episodes long. Each episode is an hour long, and yeah, it's just okay. It's just okay. The first 3 episodes are incredibly slow and boring, unfortunately. Nothing ever happens. There are a few sub storylines that feel like it's leading somewhere, but they're not fleshed out enough. They're not explored enough to be interesting at all. They just stay there and that's it. Essentially, the story is that there's this GRC organization formed after all of the people, like half of the planet, have returned to life, and this organization is responsible for resettling those people. And then there is the Flag Smashers, and its leader is a redhead by the name of Carly Morgenthau. And Carly wanted to provide resources and services for people who are basically victims of the doings of GRC. And the Flag Smashers are also killing a lot of innocent people, by the way, and so the Falcon and the Winter Soldier tried to stop her. And then on top of that, the government decided to appoint a second Captain America, and this time it is John Walker, which sounds like a brand of whiskey. And John Walker, he's not Steve Rogers, and he became kind of corrupted and prideful and violent at the end, which has caused a lot of problems as well. And then we have Zemo, because in order to fight the Flag Smashers, who are, by the way, a bunch of super soldiers, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier basically had to team up with Zemo, Baron Zemo, the villain in Captain America Civil War, and fight the Flag Smashers. And then the Wakandans arrive because the Wakandans hate Zemo because Zemo killed their previous king, King T'Challa. And so the Wakandans tried to kill Zemo while Zemo tried to kill the Flag Smashers. So, first of all, the first 3 episodes are boring, yes, but there are actually a few things that I find somewhat interesting about the story. First of all, it is the socio-economic repercussions of the return of half the planet. I actually really like that the story is exploring that element, because usually when things happen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. But at least with the socioeconomic stuff, it makes the story more practical and more realistic, and I'm glad the story explores that. Second of all, Zemo, he's good. He didn't show up until episode 3, and when he's on screen, he always steals the show. However, I'm still a little bit underwhelmed because Zemo didn't appear in the entire series. He sort of appeared on episodes 3, 4, and then he's gone by 5, I think. And Zemo didn't really do much, but still, whenever he's on screen, he is pretty interesting in comparison with other characters because he's taking this third party position where he's the quirky one, the weird one. And also, that dance scene in the party, that is one of the highlights of the show. Which brings me to Madripoor, Indonesia. Now, I've never been to Indonesia, but I don't know why. Whenever big Hollywood movies or big Hollywood TV shows detour into some random Asian city, chances are it's going to be very cyberpunk. I have no idea why. And Madripoor doesn't look like a real city. in, in the show, it looks like a friggin' it looks like cyberpunk 2077, and then there are all these non-Indonesian people there because apparently Madripoor is like a hub for all these black market sellers and buyers, and there are people from all over the world in there, and it's just really like, is this John Wick? Like, what's going on? Yeah, that bit wasn't all that entertaining. And then we also have Sharon Carter, who, if you don't know, is also a love interest of Steve Rogers in the movie Captain America Civil War. She's also in Madripoor, and she just didn't do much. She's just there. She didn't do much. And then it turns out at the end, spoiler alert, she's actually not an entirely good person, but it wasn't that much of a plot twist. We don't really care about her. She doesn't really tie into the story at all. And then we have episodes 4 to 6, which are significantly more entertaining and interesting than the first half, especially for episode 4, which is my favorite episode. The whole world is watching, where pretty much all the storylines of the corrupted imposter Captain America, his sidekick Battlestar, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and Zemo, the Wakandans, the Flag Smashers, they all come together to have a huge fight in Riga, Latvia. And all of this stuff converge into one horrifying, gruesome climax at the end of the episode, which really made me like the episode a lot because it really hooked me with the whole concept of, ooh, Captain America, but corrupted. And I was actually interested, like, ooh, is Captain America, like evil Captain America, going to be the villain of the show, like the real villain? That seems interesting. But that interest is lost sometime soon again when we have the actual real main villain of the story, Carly Morgenthau, the redhead. And I mean, a villain like her could have been really well written, to be honest, because whenever a story tries to do, ooh, it's all about perspective. You know, maybe in our POV she sucks, but maybe in her POV she's a hero. But her character is just so bland. And the story tries so hard to make her very relatable and make the audience sympathize with her, but the story doesn't really show anything sympathizable about her. Every time Carly is on screen, she's always whining about how helpless she is and how much her people has suffered and how much she thinks that the world should come back together and that she's doing something for the greater good, and it just doesn't really add anything to her character. She's just very bland and flat, and honestly, sometimes even annoying. Episode 5 also slows down for a bit, at least in the second half. Episode 6 is the epic climax of the story. We have the nearly half an hour long fight between the Flag Smashers and our protagonists, and it was a really entertaining fight sequence. I have to admit, it is broken down in parts. It is really well written, and MCU has pretty much perfected fight sequences down to a T, where they know exactly how they're going to split up all the characters and how each character is going to fight who and how it's going to go down. It's all very formulaic, but it works every single time, and it's really entertaining. And the speech that Falcon, which is now the third and the official Captain America 2, and the speech he gave is really inspiring, really motivating, and I like that, though I think it's kind of weird that some superhero is going to speak to some politicians in front of a bunch of reporters and change the world. It's just a little impractical. But you know what? I'll allow it. Overall, though, the story is still not as memorable. I do, however, really like not really, but somewhat like the side storylines with Bucky seeing a therapist trying to deal with his trauma, which is just okay, to be honest. I mean, the therapist scenes are actually kind of boring. But him trying to find a date, trying to date this bartender girl, actually, I kind of want to see more of that, but the story didn't really follow up on that at all. I hope the bartender girl returns in a future movie alongside Winter Soldier. I do hope that. Then we have the whole there's a secret black super soldier thing, which also isn't really all that interesting. But it's kind of cool that the story is exploring this because it shows different perspectives where Isaiah Bradley, the name of the secret black super soldier, who's really old nowadays, by the way, in the present day, and he's like, well, if you want to represent the USA and you're prideful about it, then you're not fit to be Captain America, or you're not really Captain America because USA has a history of racism and other very terrible stuff. But Sam Wilson, aka Falcon, agreed with him, but he still did things in his way and he became the Captain America himself. And it's good to see different perspectives. Yeah, overall, just kind of boring. Honestly, the story is mediocre, the dialogues are very cheesy and very convenient at times. More convenient than cheesy because, and I know that basically all of the MCU movies have the same problem, but there are movies where the dialogues are convenient, but given that the story doesn't take itself too seriously, it doesn't even matter. But when we have something like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, convenient dialogues just make it less enjoyable, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. My favorite episode is episode 4. My least favorite is episodes 1 and 2. I am giving The Falcon and the Winter Soldier a strong 5 to a light 6 out of 10. I'm sorry to Marvel fans, okay? I'm sorry, okay? It's just my opinion. So, have you watched The Falcon and the Winter Soldier? From 1 to 10, how much did you rate it? Leave a like and subscribe if you want more, and thanks for watching. Next TV show I will review would be Lost Season 6.